Going to be our last daily quest of the week on converting between fractions, decimals, and percents. Once again, here are the 5 fraction to percent conversions that I'm expecting you to have memorized. It's going to help you out a lot. As we convert between fractions, decimals, and percents, make sure to simplify all of the fractions in the simplest form. For our first fraction, we have one of those fractions we're supposed to have memorized. 1/3 is about 33%, so 2/3 is about 2 67 hundredths, which is about 267%. Down here, we have our decimal is 74 6/10, which is the same as 60 hundredths. So this is going to be a huge percentage. 7,460%. Now, that's not going to happen very often, but it is possible to have something like a 7,000% increase. It's not very common, but it is certainly possible. As a fraction, we have 74 6/10, which is the same as 74 3/5. For our one down here, we have 24 and 53 hundredths of a percent. So we're going to move that decimal 2 to the left, and we're going to get, and this one's really hard to say correctly, 2,453 10,000ths. This is one of the few times when if you said 0.2453, I'd probably let it go. But if you're able to say 2,453 10,000ths, then the conversion to the fraction is not bad. And I'm going to say that's in simplest form. The last one is 12 hundredths. Oops, 1 hundredths. We can divide both those by 2 to get 6 50ths. Divide by 2 again to get 3 25ths, or 12%. So that's about as tough as we can get. Those were pretty difficult, but that we can't get any harder than that. Once again, we're going to convert all of these to percents. This is the same as 2 50 hundredths, which is 250%. For this one, we want to go between our hundredths and thousandths. So this one is 41 2/10%. 6/15 is a little bit tougher. That's 2/5. We know that 1/5 is 20%, so that means 2/5 has to be 40%. Oop, and once again, we have another tie, which is just fine. So we're going to go smallest to largest. So we have to some way showcase that these are tied. Last time I wrote them on top of each other, and that's just fine. We can do that again. Our next one is 412 thousandths, and our biggest is 2 5/10. And there we go. Let's move to the story problems. Hayden and Max were having a competition. Hayden made 7 baskets and missed 3, while Max made 14 out of his 20 shots. Who had a higher shooting percentage? So Hayden made 7 and missed 3, which means that he shot 10 total. That is 70%, because this would be 70 100ths. Max made 14 out of his 20. There's 2 ways to solve this, but I decided to divide by 2, which gave me 7/10, which is also 70%. So they actually, no one beat each other. They tied at 70%. Good job, guys. 2 more. Haley is really into monster trucks. It's her favorite hobby. Don't ask her. That's just the truth. So she owns 120. Wow, that's a lot of monster trucks. But 90 of her monster trucks are in prime condition. What percent is that? So 90 out of the 120 total. If we divide our numerator and denominator by 10, because they both end in 0, we get 9/12. We can divide both of these by 3 to get 3/4, which is 75%. So we're going to say 75% are in prime condition. What a fun hobby that is. That sounds awesome. Mr. Schmidt doesn't like giving extra credit, but for one test, he broke his rule. The test was worth 40 points, but somebody earned 45 points with the extra credit. What was the percentage, or their percentage? Okay. So, if someone earned 45 points out of 40, that means they made over 100%. Whoops. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this a mixed number. I'm going to make this one whole, that's our 100%, and then 5/40ths left over. These are the same. So now I can simplify by dividing both of these by 5, which gives me 1 and 1/8. 1/8 is not one of the fraction 2% conversions we're supposed to have memorized, so we have to do our long division. Once again, inside out, 1 divided by 8. And I'm going to divide quickly because, once again, we've done this a lot. Our decimal point goes between the hundredths and thousandths place. So this is 112% with an extra 5/10 left over. So they scored 112 5/10% on the test. And this is exactly why I don't like giving extra percent. If a test is supposed to tell you what percent of the knowledge you can know, it's not possible to know more than 100% of the material. So you can't score in my class above 100% because this would be saying that this student knew 112% of the material, which doesn't make any sense. Now, that doesn't mean you can't have extra credit in other classes, but that's why I don't offer it. As always, if you have any questions, please let me know.